Hello, my name is Halina Krivanos, and this is my video record answering some job interview question for data analyst. First question: what does the CRISP methodology for data mining entail? What does the data analyst do in each step? According to the cross-industry standard process for data mining methodology, and analytical projects consist six main stages. First, business understanding, where it's all about understanding business goals or priority, so we can adapt our data mining projects to support them. Next one, data understanding, where we should understand our data and checking it for any quality issue, for example, such as errors, missing value, or inconsistencies. From there, we can also explore our data by calculating basic statistic, descriptive statistic, such as the mean, mode, median, and get first our insights. Next one step, it's data preparation. It takes a lot of time because in this step we should spend with the data selecting, cleaning, formatting, integrating data, and if we uncover it any data quality or integrity issue in the previous steps, we need to document what we did to resolve them. Depending on our project, we also may need to conduct or to derive new variables, new data. And last one steps, it's modeling. In this phase, we will decide which combination of logic or algorithms to apply to our data set. The methodology is not rigid, and we can return to previous steps. We can skip some steps if if are not important for our task. But at the end, each task we must get to a certain result. Next question: explain what needs to be done before you can forecast time series. In other words, what does time series analysis involve? Three fundamental steps we should do before we can forecast data time series. First step, making data stationary. Many time series data sets have seasonal or trend elements. This is all we call in according of this seasonal or trends patterns is what we call making the data stationary. Business build the time series model. To build a model that we can accurately make prediction, it is fundamental to establish a base level forecast. In other words, we must decide which kind of model is appropriate for our data. We have to choose this model. And the last one, evaluating model accuracy. In these steps help now us to determine which model will prove the most reliable prediction. For instance, we can compare the mean absolute percent error between different models. Third question, discuss the main principles of data ethics as well as companies or organizations should do to uphold these principles. The main principles of data ethics are privacy, where individuals should be control their personal data, and the organization must comply with the data privacy law and get an individual's agreement before they collect and share private information. Transparency. Individuals should have a clear overview of data that organization collect and share. This mean that organization need to be transparent how they handle and process data externally and internally. Accountability. Organization are responsible for data that are collected and shared. They must protect personal information and be held accountable if this is not. And quality, where organization must be careful not to discriminate individuals or groups handling and processing data. First question, imagine you are analyst at financial services company and you have some concerns about bias in the way a predictive model was measured. How would you raise your concerns with your manager, make some suggestions how to follow avoid measurement bias in the future? When you work in a financial company, responsibility can lead to big losses for the company. The way I would address my concern, my manager, would be as follow: book a one-to-one meeting with my manager, ask for details about the data set were used in predictive model, raise my concern with supporting data, and requires a follow-up meeting to receive feedback from my manager. And after these feedbacks, I would advise my manager to incorporate into the company procedures some items to try to avoid measurement bias in the future. For example, assure that people collecting the data have correct training. Every measurement is done with the same protocol. Ensure that our multiplane measure device and all device must follow standard and calibration patterns. Design and communicate testing procedures clearly and openly. If the data is gathered by survey interview clients, assure that we have two distinct groups, test and control group. This actually will be important to validate if the data is biased or not. And continually review and update scoring and evaluation process. And 5 question, explain the difference between regression and classification models in predictive analysis. When would you use one of these models over another? Regression models are used to measure relationship between quantitative variables, usually to create predictive model. Put simply, they show how one variable may affect to another in order to make prediction. For example, financial analysts use regression measure to price relationship between different assets, and they can determine the best price at which buy or sell of them. On the other hand, classification models predict which category an object will fall into based on the set of predefined features. For example, classification, if the spam filter on your email account, it marks incoming messages as a spam or not spam by looking for certain keywords in subject line or email itself. And clustering, decision tree, random forecast are all examples classification techniques. I guess that is all, and thank you. Goodbye.